Hi, welcome back to Tiki Hut Treasures. I have been gone for a couple of months now, and I am really sorry about that. I really wanted to make videos. I wanted to do crafts, and my life has just been lifing. So I feel like I owe a little explanation because I had some issues with some family, and then my dog has had cancer. My dog had anal sac cancer. Anyway, it was kind of common with the smaller breeds, and he was getting sicker and in more pain, and so I was really worried about him and making sure he had everything he needed and stuff, right? So, and then a couple of my friends needed me, and then my father was diagnosed with esophageal adenocarcinoma, and that is not a good cancer. I mean, no cancers are good, but it's a really scary cancer. It's very fast growing, and my dad is older. He's 78, so we didn't think that the prognosis was good, and so I had a lot of guilt being so far away. And my father was my best friend for like a lot of my life, and then we had a falling out over some religious differences, and that has since been okay lately after the last time he almost died. And so I really was trying to nurture that relationship and make sure that I was there for him. In the meantime, my home became, it looks like a hoarder lived here. Like it really did. So I have been trying to get my life back to order, and I feel terrible about that, but that I haven't been around. So I needed this collaboration. All that said, to say, I needed this collaboration because I needed a reason to make sure on a deadline that I got back to my crafting. So this is the Wood N Resin collaboration with Glitz and Glitter and CCUK. So I wanted to get involved in that. And I just coincidentally have another baby shower to get a gift for. And so I wanted to incorporate this wood hanger, and then I wanted to attach it to this piece of wood to make a big name sign picture for her room. It's huge. They may not even want it because it's this big. But the reason I did it was because I am basing the whole thing on this. So it was this color for Valentine's Day, but I had to make it lighter because this is the color more of what she wants in her nursery. I have based the entire project on this heart, so it had to fit in the circle. So I am going to take that wood and spray paint it, and then I'm going to cover it with resin. I am going to make a whole bunch of bows in, because I don't like that these are two-dimensional, so I'm going to make the bows out of ribbon and actually put ribbon bows on top of the wood. So there's that. That is the plan, and I hope that you guys are here for it. And I'm gonna go spray paint this wood, and then I'll bring you back when I'm ready to coat it in resin. Right, so I finished painting it. I think it looks really good. It's all different shades of light pinks. Now okay, so I am actually spray painting the bows from the other piece of wood, but I am going to paint by hand this wood, and hopefully with just a bunch of different color pinks and whites. So my dog passed, and so my girl dog had passed away 14 months before, and I had a really hard time because she'd been with me 16 years. It was just very painful, but I still had Remy, and Remy had been with me the same amount of time, well, 1 year less, and so I still had him. He was a big part of my travels across the country, travel nursing, all that stuff. And so I kind of figured like that part of my life was still there. So it was kind of comforting to have him. And then he had the cancer, and he was always he was in tune with me. Like, you know, some people say dogs are in tune with them. I'm telling you, this dog was definitely in tune with me. When he was really, really hurting and stuff, I had a really hard time. Like, I didn't know when, like, it's so hard to know when it's too hard on them. And so when it's time to say goodbye, like that time it's really hard to decide when enough is enough, you know? And so I was feeling a lot of guilt about that, I guess. And then when I finally decided that it was time, well, he decided for me. I had not decided it was time. I started giving him a lot more pain meds, and he was like having trouble walking because he was so medicated. And that made me feel terrible, but also he was happy when he could walk. He was happy. And so I didn't want to deprive him of any of the time he had the possibility of having, right? He never had heart problems, but all of a sudden he went into heart failure, and over a period of 2 days he went significantly downhill and had very, very hard time breathing, was full of fluid. And so it got to the point where I just was praying that I could get him to the vet in time, because I didn't want him to suffocate or anything like that. I'm really sorry if this is sensitive to some people. So, but it was really, really hard on me. So then when he passed, I was really not ready for him to pass. I don't know that you're ever really ready, but I was not. I don't think I'd ever been that down. I didn't think it would ever hit me that way, I guess. But it was really bad. Not to the point where I wanted to ever harm myself. Like, I have way too much to do in my life. Like, I can't. That's not it. But if there was an almost, if there was an almost button for that, I was there. Just finding out that my dad had this cancer, right? So I had written a card and had AI create a card for my dad with a picture of Remy. And I'll try and put it in here, but I gotta figure out how to do that. I made a card with AI of Remy's face, well, Remy's whole body, and it said that he had cancer too, but at least, like, talking to my dad, like, at least you don't have to wear a cone. And then it said, and poop doesn't fall out of your butt, at least not yet. So it was really kind of a humorous card. But because my dog passed so fast, I didn't get to give it to my dad until after Remy had already died. So that was kind of that was a little bit sad. But anyway, it was a cute story. So then my dad, I did go to North Carolina, which is where my dad lives, and my mom and dad. And I was there for his surgery. And actually, his surgery went so well that they called it curative. And like, that's a huge deal. So he doesn't have to have chemo and radiation and all that. So that's kind of neat. We didn't see that coming. That wasn't at all on our radar because esophageal adenocarcinoma has a really low survival rate. So, and then with his comorbidities and his age and whatever, I wasn't that confident that he was going to get through it. So we were very, very fortunate. I had a lot of friends include him in some prayer circles and things, and if you believe in that, I hope so. But so I really feel like it all kind of happened the way it was supposed to happen. And my dog passing before my dad's surgery allowed me to not be worrying, like if I had to come back or whatever early from North Carolina or anything like that. So anyway, I think it all happened for a reason, and my dog passed in time for me to be able to put all my attention on my dad and not have to worry about flying back real quick or anything like that. I guess it all happens for a reason. My new puppy is here with me. His name is Kai, and he is really great. He knew Remy, so they hung out before Remy died. So that's kind of cool that they had that before. This is looking pretty neat. All right, so I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna get this hair out, and then I'm just gonna finish this last bottom part. And I thank you for listening to my story. I hope it wasn't terrible, depressing, but I wanted to explain where I really was and why I wasn't around. So I hope that everyone has stuck with me. And if you're new to me, please hit the subscribe button. It will really help my channel. I am going to be back posting videos regularly, and I really appreciate your support. All right, so I finished painting. I think it looks really good. It's all different shades of light pinks. Now I have to decide which heart I want. This one doesn't seem to show up really well. And this is the ribbon that I'm using for those 2D ribbons I want to make into these. So this doesn't show up real well, even though I love that this is the color more of her room. I'm wondering, I like this better. It looks a little dark from that angle, but I'm gonna go with the one that matches her room because I know this stands out better, and I do love the color pink that it is, but also this is more what she's going for in her room. So, all right. This has little pieces where the paint has already chipped off. I'm gonna touch some of that up, but also it's not gonna matter much because I'm gonna put her name across it too. So, all right, so I'm gonna mix up some resin real quick. Don't you hate it when you're like ready to start a project and then all of a sudden something, just one thing is missing. Just one thing has to always be missing. this is not my normal workspace because this is so big. I didn't have space on my desk to do it. And all right. I have wrapped some tape around this. I got some paint because I went over it with like a whitewash also. So I got some white on the tape, but I can always sand that off right before I do the, before I do the finishing touch of the side paint, you know. Sorry, my dog is now ringing a bell. So I'm using the 1 hour fast cure, and I've actually poured a little too much in here. Okay. Oh, great. There's something black floating in my cup. That's perfect. I've had this resin a minute, and oh, it's from my cup. I see the black spots. Oh well. Should have put my glasses on before I picked my cup. And I also should have cut a bigger hole in this bottle. I can't open the top. It won't open the top. I'm having a bad day. This is what happens when you don't craft for 2 months. The world just works against you, you know? All right, now I did put a little bit of glitter on the heart itself, so I'm not gonna put any crushed crystal or anything in here. Oh, there's already some glitter that has fallen, but I'm not gonna put any glitter in here because not everybody loves glitter, you know? I know, sacrilege, but not everybody does. So Friday night I'm going to it's called a serial killer speakeasy. So it's a place that will serve me cocktails and talk about serial killers. Like, who wouldn't want that? This is like a 2 ounce cup, so I don't know that this is gonna be enough resin, and if it's not, it's not, and I can put more, but oh, it's seeping through the paint and darkening it. I did not want it darker. I love resin and I hate resin all at the same time. Okay. If it gets absorbed evenly, at least I'll be happy. But if it's gonna leave these spots, I'm gonna be so mad. But yeah, I can't use my heat gun because it'll melt the tape. This is not resin tape. So resin tape is that green stuff that holds up just a little bit better to the heat gun. I mean, you could still melt it, but it's just a little bit better than this everyday packing tape. Just want to get it to all the edges at least. It's 1 hour fast cure, so it sets up really fast, and I don't want to miss I think it's pulling up some of the paint and making it, so I got to make sure I do it only sideways like this, where the paint can move in those lines that I've created with the paint. I probably didn't wait for the whitewashed layer to fully dry. I mean, I know I didn't wait. I don't know why I said probably. I did not wait. So it's true. A lot of us are impatient artists. So it's true. All right. That looks coated. Really could have done a much thicker layer, I guess. I did intend on it being thicker, but alright, I'm gonna mix. Man, if I mix up more though, what's gonna happen is this is gonna be semi-cured and then the other resin is gonna not be, and it's actually going to buckle the first layer a little bit. So maybe I shouldn't. Couple of these areas where the tape has buckled really good, I'm going to reinforce with other tape behind. This one I'm going to actually cut and put more tape around the side because it's actually sitting in my resin and I don't want that. So this is gonna be okay if I just take this piece down. All right, now it's not at least in the resin. I'll wait for this to set up. I'm gonna do a thicker layer, so I'm gonna do a much bigger cup of this next after I reinforce the sides again, but I think it looks really nice, so yay. I don't want it heavy though, right? I don't want it heavy. The more resin I put in this, the heavier it's gonna get. I better just commit.
Okay, so I did spray paint the I did end up spray painting these bows, but I didn't like the way they came out.
Like
and so it
looks like I missed a little in there.
Okay. So I had to paint them all by hand. So I painted them all by hand, and then I painted the bottom here to match the tray. And then I painted the bottom here to match the tray. It actually does look really good.
Top.
Then I just painted.
I still have to do the ribbon, the real ribbon part, because I don't like the way these look.
I did try to just paint a design on it.
And I still have to do the ribbon, the real ribbon part, because I don't like the way these look.
Heart part is
I did try to just
I
paint a design on it.
Do just one more layer of resin on it, so I've
and then we'll put them together, and then I'll do the ribbons.
I got cut off on the other thing I was painting, so I ended up finishing it, and it looks really a lot like the base of the other one. I know it's hard to see, but it is 3 a.m. here, and I don't want to wake up my husband. So I am going to put glue on these. Instead of doing the ribbon then became a brown color, and I don't want that. So I'm going to put some glue on here in the shape of like the bow ribbon, and then I'm going to add these crystal gems, and I will bring you back. It's very blingy, but I just put crystals on top of the bow, and then I raised up the center portion a little bit to give it some depth, and I'm gonna do it to the little ones now too, because I think I like it. Okay, so here we are with the bow, the big bow that's gonna go at the top of this. This
is ready for me to just do the touch-up paint and then another layer of resin still. I have not done that. And then this is the hooks for to go at the bottom of this. And so I just want to give a little bit more dimension to these bows. If you can see, I've built up the middle of this with just a hump of glue and then some more of these like clear crystals. They're just clear AB crystals, like mini ice cube type crystals. So they're not real flashy, they're not real glitzy, but they catch the light just a tad. So I'm just gonna build up a couple of things. I wanna do like a couple of lines on each bow, and then I wanna fill in these little gaps where, you know, where glue doesn't always, let's see, like right here, where the glue just left off a space. So I'm just gonna touch those up. And I'm just using, the glue that I am using is this Advanced Craft Glue Crystal Clear Instant Grab Fast Dry Glue. So not all these really glued down, so I need to like brush off all the crystals that aren't really stuck so that I can re-glue them on with the glue strong, you know, to keep them from getting brushed off. I guess I'm gonna have to cover them in resin because a lot more are brushing off than I would like. So I'm gonna touch these areas up with some more of the glue and then put on some of these rhinestones. I am gonna have to coat it in resin when I coat the bottom anyway. So I'll let it drip off of this first and then do this bottom part. So just gonna glue some more crystals and I will see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so this bow is done. It's really three-dimensional, very cool. And it's all resined and strong. And then this is done. And see how it's got all the different colors in there? Looks kind of neat. Sorry for the lighting. So all I've done is I poured all the resin and then I have rounded the edge and sanded. I need to sand the whole thing and then put a top coat because otherwise it just is a rounded edge. I had to Dremel it because it was so thick. But and then this is the little hangers and their bows. They look really pretty. I bought these flowers to use as the middles of the bows, but you know, I like that it matches the big one. So yay! I am excited. I have to just put the top coat and we'll be all done. Oh, I need to put her name, but I need to get some letters because the letters that I bought were way too big for me to paint and make her name. So I'm gonna get those hopefully today. All right, so we had another change in plans. So the bows turned out beautiful. I'm gonna cover them in a little bit of resin when I pour the resin for the tray. And then you may notice that the roses on this heart are a little darker. I started picking at the places that were raised and I realized that it just pulled off to almost to the color that, well, darker than the color. It's like this dusty rose instead of that bright pink that was behind here. So when I saw that, I took a Dremel to a bunch of places around it and now we have an uneven coloring, which is cool because it matches kind of the background. Like I love it even more. I really do love it even more. So I'm going to mix up some resin. I'm going to use the 1 hour fast cure. I think I just said that because number one, it's fast. So I'm not doing it deep. If I was doing it deep, like a 1/2 inch or more, I would want to use a regular resin. But
since I'm just doing it as kind of like a coating resin, it's thin enough to do on the bows and hold those crystals in without making it flat. And then it will also gel up quickly. I can pour it in here, and then it should, what am I saying? Oh, cure in time for me to be able to use it for this video that we're supposed to be ready for on the 1st, and it is February 27th, so I have like a day and a half, and I work tomorrow night, so I have no idea how much resin I'm gonna need, but I'm gonna just fill this cup halfway. So I ordered a couple of small bottles of this resin, and I was hoping that I would get it soon enough to put it in so I could pour these bottles in it, but it's not gonna pour out of this hole very well, so it's really, it's just aggravating to me. It's just aggravating. Okay, so here I go. So this resin, you see how it's cloudy right now, but it clears up very quickly because it's probably so thin is probably the reason it does that. And I'm going to pour this little bow and then move it aside, and then I'm going to do these bows. Let me see if I can put, just want to raise these up a little bit so that they drain into here when it's done. And I have my heat gun ready because it's the only way I'm going to get the bubbles out of this resin. It gels up too quickly to use alcohol. You can see how crystal clear this is now, other than the bubbles, but it's because it's like water thin. So make sure you scrape your sides. Okay, and now I'm going to dip it over these first. I don't know, but I'm just want them to kind of be locked in place, but I want this resin to go in and then pour off and into the wooden part that I'm gonna have to coat anyway. Especially over the edges. It's already thicker, you can already feel it. Okay. Let that drain for a minute. Then I'm going to put it on this bow. And I do want them fully coated, and then I'm going to take the heat gun to blow it off. Out of my hand. Awesome. So that one is pretty much done. Just gonna coat it around the edges, coat the back a little bit because you're gonna see the back when it's hung up. Okay, perfect. Now if I had something silicone to put it on, that would be even better, but I have this little cap right here and I'm gonna put it on top of the little cap. That's fine. All right. And now I need heat gun to the other. Oh, I just put resin in my bangs. Well, they won't move anymore. See a place on here where I've missed some paint on one of the bows. That kind of sucks, but okay, I'm just gonna go around the edges of this first really quickly because my resin is starting to cloud up and gel. All right, I'm gonna put this aside for right now. I do have some resin on the bottom, kind of drained on it, but I want to start working on the tray. And resin. Keep just a bit in case I have a blank spot. This is where whenever I do a tray, I always use my hands to spread the resin. Every tray I do, you'll see me do this. When I did this the other day and I used that little spatula, I was like, that's so foreign to me. I don't normally do it that way. I'm just trying to get it to cover the heart all the way and make sure that there's no spaces behind it. Not directing it at the tape at all because remember, this tape will buckle and stuff. So these little crystals that I have in the bows, one of them fell in the tray and it looks kind of neat, so I may put some of them in here. I lost my glitter that I had put on the roses when I painted it outside the other day. Okay, so I'm gonna put this last little bit in here. I know I should do it on this, but I feel like this just needs a little bit and I don't want to do a separate pour. I just feel like it wasn't covered, that there was pieces of the heart not covered. Okay. Alright, so I don't know how I want to place these gems, but I do want some in there because they looked a little bit neat. Just in the middle of each rose, just a few. I don't know if I'm ruining this or not. You know, you just kind of got to go with your gut. And my gut usually says glitter. I don't want to overdo it, but all right. And then it's a little cloudy up here, and I don't know why. Usually with this resin, if it looks cloudy, it's just that it has air bubbles. Part is done. I'm actually going to take a little break and I will do this. I'm going to make some more resin and just pour it in this little tray, but I want to have a little bit of a drink and maybe some breakfast because I haven't had that yet, because it was 3 a.m. and then I took a nap and now it is 8 a.m. so I haven't eaten yet, so I'm going to do that. All right, I think it looks really pretty. I hope that you guys like it too. I hope that the bows come out good, and yay, and then we'll be able to do the sides. That'll be all that's left. So, thank you for watching. Okay, here it is finished. Start up here. The colors don't show very well, but it is pink. It doesn't look it, but it is all different shades of pink. It's very shiny, so I get a lot of glare. I sanded it and then I wet sanded it, and it'll need one more coat of resin, but it was time for me to get this video out. This is better with the light on, so you can see the detail in the different colors. And it's just wood, resin, rhinestones. So pretty. And I will add letters to personalize this one. Hope you enjoyed our Wood N Resin collaboration. Go check on the rest of the people in the playlist.